Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, and today we are going to be going over everything you need to know about patch 4.0. So this is of course the Season 4 patch, and as anticipated, it is going to be releasing on the 28th of February next Tuesday. So that's 9 AM UTC, that is the sort of universal time, and do bear in mind that if you want to play that early in the morning, or in the middle of the night if you live in the US or Asia, then you won't be able to get any Battle Pass experience until 12 o'clock. So you might just want to hold on until 3 hours later so you can start leveling up your Battle Pass. In any case, I'm sure you guys have seen the Season 4 trailer videos. You already know what's coming in Season 4, so we aren't going to go over the new weapons and vehicles or anything like that. That is obviously in these patch notes as well, but we are going to get down to some of the most interesting changes here, and I am really excited about these because I have been campaigning for them for quite a long time. In fact, some of them since Battlefield 2042 released. Before we begin though, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on any future Battlefield content, if you enjoy the content that is. I will be covering Season 4 quite extensively when it releases next week, so make sure that you're subbed up for that. We're closing in pretty fast on 41,000 subscribers, so let's see how fast we can get there. Thank you guys as always for your unending support. Okay, so let's start with one of the biggest changes here, and that is going to be to the Lissile TV missiles. Now this one is definitely going to rub some people the wrong way. For me, if you watched my last video that I made, in fact, you'll know that I kind of agree with these changes. So the first one here is that they've reduced the maximum range of Lissile TV from 600 down to 475 meters. That is just slightly more than the previous range. I believe the previous range was 450. They've reduced the boost speed from 150 meters per second to 110. They have tightened the turning angles. They have adjusted the input clamping when boosting in accordance with the new turning angles, and then they've also reduced the acceleration modifier when boosting from 1.85 times the force to 1.15 times the force. So there you can see that previously when you boosted the rocket, it used to be almost twice as fast. Now it's only going to be essentially 15% faster. So yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Let's read the dev comments here before I give you my own. So they say here, with these adjustments, we're looking to push Liz into having a higher skill ceiling, aka more skill required to master, and also ease up on the vehicle player experience. Really agree with that overall. Higher skill ceiling, definitely a good thing. The turning adjustments introduced in this update will make it so the missile will be less agile, hindering its ability greatly to double back on itself after an initial miss. So that was definitely one of my major complaints. You could sometimes come and have 2 or 3 passes with one missile at the same vehicle. The boost acceleration and speed reductions will now enable vehicle players more of a chance to react to an inbound missile. Also, we want players to have a clear target they wish to attack with the TV or with the TGM before it has been fired, which we saw was not the case in update 3.21. These turning changes combined with the boost acceleration, speed and max range reductions are targeted to address this. So yeah, that was definitely another one of my complaints there. I would sometimes fire a TV upon spawning without actually having a target in mind, and because of the immense fuel and range that the missile had, you could almost just start scouting the battlefield out and looking for a target. So this is really going to change them a lot. There have been some tweaks here, like they've tightened the turning angles to sort of counteract the other changes that they've made. So it's hard to tell just from the numbers how this is going to pan out, but I guess we're going to find out when Season 4 finally releases on Tuesday. Now, another small change, but quite significant, the Assault class will now be able to carry a maximum of 2 Medpens, so that's instead of 1. However, upon spawn, you will still only have 1 available to you. So that's definitely something you need to know going into Season 4. If you play Assault and you spawn with a single Medpen, you can now stock up with a second Medpen by visiting a support player with a medic crate, or, you know, just a medic crate that's been thrown down on the ground. So that's really going to make those medic crates more lucrative for support players as well. You know, you might want to start running a medic crate more now rather than support. I suppose it depends on the situation, but I don't know. I've played quite a lot of Assault and I didn't really feel that it was one of the more underpowered classes. As somebody who plays Assault probably most of the time, I mean, I guess I'm all for this, but I kind of feel this was maybe not that necessary. How about you guys though? What do you think about that one? Okay, next up here, whilst piloting or driving a vehicle, lock-on sounds will no longer play for any passengers. So that might seem quite arbitrary, really, and unimportant, but actually, if you're going for a kill on a Condor, that is going to be pretty big. Most of the time, if you're a passenger in a helicopter, for example, like the Condor or the Russian transport heli, you know that if you're hanging around in the air on 15% health, you hear a lock-on sound, you hear that there's an incoming missile, you're going to bail straight out of there, and whoever actually gets that kill is probably only going to kill the pilot and not all the people who were in there. So with this change, none of those passengers are actually going to be aware that that missile is in the air, only the pilot. And so the pilot may decide to bail out, but all the passengers are probably just going to stay stuck in there, and that's almost certainly going to result in you getting more kills, which in turn should encourage people to actually try and take them down a bit more, which I think is definitely a good thing. APS will no longer remain active after a vehicle has been hacked. So similar to how you can pop flares before you get hacked, and then you get hacked, the flares keep on firing and you're immune to lock-ons. The same thing was happening with APS, but tank drivers beware, this is no longer the case. So even if you've popped your APS here and then a round comes along and hacks you, you're going to be completely vulnerable here, and it's going to cancel your APS. Okay, let's move on to the other really big one here for me. I'm so excited to see how this plays out, because this is something that I have been asking for since literally day one of the beta. So they've made, finally, some changes to the aircraft handling in the game. So they've made lift and drag improvements on the aileron and elevator areas of jet aircraft to allow for smoother pitching. So presumably, it's kind of hard to tell from the text here, but we're going to be able to turn the aircraft faster, and that is most likely going to result in a longer strafing time and more interesting dogfights. They've improved pitch down to now turn faster than pitching up as intended. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that they've got this wrong in the patch notes. I think it should be that they've improved pitching up to now turn faster than pitching down as intended, because the opposite, what they've written in the patch notes there, is actually the case right now. If you pitch down, it turns faster than pitching up, and it should be the other way around, so at least I hope they haven't messed this up. VTOL mode will now correctly activate and deactivate for the F-35 and the Condor. To be honest, I wasn't really aware that it wasn't, but cool. And then they've made adjustments to the F-35 turning rate to be more in line and in competition against the Su-57 Felon. So there's another massive change that I know all of the YouTubers and people who stream on Twitch and just the, Battlefield community have been campaigning for there. The fact that the Su-57 was such a better dogfighter than the F-35. It does say that they've made adjustments to make it more in line, so is it going to be exactly the same, exactly as fast, or almost as fast, or, a little bit faster maybe, who knows? And finally here they fixed an issue for the M416 where it had the incorrect headshot multiplier. Same goes for the MTAR, that one also had the incorrect headshot multiplier. No info on what that headshot multiplier actually was, so has the multiplier gone from, an SMG multiplier to an assault rifle multiplier, or has it been nerfed the other way? Like, I don't know, I'm going to guess, since these are both assault rifles, that they incorrectly had the SMG headshot multiplier, which I believe is 1.15, and they've probably now got the assault one, which is 1.8 or 1.85. And then the XM8 LMG now has the correct magazine count. So again, is it higher? Is it lower? I don't really know. In all honesty, I haven't used the XM8 a whole lot, but I know it's definitely one of the favorite Vault weapons out there amongst a lot of you guys, so questionable whether this may have seen a reduction. In any case, some really fantastic changes there, obviously the big ones being to the aircraft and Liss's TV missile. As I said, earlier on in the video, very difficult to see how this is exactly going to pan out in the game, but I'm sure we'll find out once we start playing come Tuesday. But that being said, there are still a lot of things that need to be fixed in the game. If you guys want to hear my thoughts on some of those, then go check out my video from the other day. I think one of them in there has been fixed now, being the Liss TV missile, but the other two, not so much. As always, guys, thank you for watching today and spending some time with me. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.